Hi, I'm Austin Ertham. Welcome to Kitchen Table Podcast. I'm motivated, educated, and relate to you guys sharing my stories. Helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to this episode 134. Change is inevitable. We're going to tell you why. I've tried this 3 times now. Try to get this podcast done. So we're going to try to shorten it up a little bit because I ain't got a lot of time. So without further ado, here we go. Quote of the week this week is by Henry Ford. He said, when you find yourself against the wall, remember that airplanes take off against the wind, not with it. Henry Ford, obviously a big innovator back in the day, still a thriving company to this day. And I think that we perceive things as a threat a lot of times when our back's against the wall or we're gloomy. We're like, hey, I can't do this. But mentally, we need to tell ourselves, hey, this is a challenge. This is where I improve. This is good for me in the long run, and continue to try to get up and be great even when our back's against the wall, because good will come out of it in the end. Where I saw God this past week is, hey, in the Midwest, it's still 70 degrees outside at the end of October. Never been through a full regular season of football for high school, and I've been this warm. Could have wore shorts basically every game if I wanted to. So I'm very thankful for that we haven't had winter yet. What I learned this week, the first thing I learned, speaking of football, coming home from football practice or after school, I always work out since I don't have time in the morning. And I learned that it's not the time dedication that I get upset about. Yes, I like to relax, but if I'm doing an easy workout, it's just another thing I need to do. So I can turn on YouTube and go through the motions and do some recovery lifts. But what I learned that's challenging is when I have to get over the mental hump of it's going to be a hard workout. All right. So if I have a hard Metcon, whether it's an hour or it's 20 minutes, if it's only 10 minutes, sure, I can get through that. But if it's heavy lifting, it's a lot to get ready for. I need to mentally be prepared and be motivated to do my best. And that's what's challenging after a hard day, is to have another thing that you have to do that is going to put your body and mind through the ringer. So learning that, having that self-awareness and knowing when you should do it is important. So they say that you should have a lot of medium days in terms of how hard it is, a few easy days mixed in, and then every so often they say to go see God. That every so often keeps you going, know that you have it, checks up on if you're improving or not, and also gives you that kind of, hey, I got to do this today type attitude. Now, I don't need to do that every week, but having those weeks where it's going to happen and finding it when it might fit in your schedule. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes you do, and it's just, hey, hard, go for it. I think mixing it up prepares you for other obstacles you might face in life. Other things that I learned is kind of how you look at things in life, right? So I can think about, hey, I've had a hard day at work, I got to go work out. Or I can think, hey, I got to go get better. Or I can think I've had a day at work and now I got to go work more on the weekend doing kicking camps or talk to people about their performance mentally. So I can look at it as I have to work extra, or I can look at it as, hey, I'm getting to get closer to my dream, get closer to live what I want to do, and I make money in the process. So it's all about how you look at things to help you with that motivation. And then we can continue to learn. So the business, kicking people I work for, they have training camps, and they chart during training camps, see where you're at, and then they put it on the website. So it drives website traffic. And then after that, they see the rankings, which is the most clicked on thing. And then they want to go to a showcase. They want to play in colleges. That's their goal. So then they get more customers, repeated customers, and it's all a good system. You need to be good marketers, you need to be good storytellers. So if I talk to somebody, I need to relate to them in sports psychology, and I need to have some sort of thing that clicks, gets them intrigued, clicks with them, and then build up to some sort of climax. And then at the end of the climax needs to be, all right, why does this relate to you? Like, how can it help you? And having those pieces of the puzzle really help to build relationships, help you better storytellers, helps you market yourself, because ultimately that's what a lot of products are, and hopefully grows your business and hopefully their performance in my eyes or my situation. Other things that I think are important are as if I'm talking to a person and what their first impression is like. So if you are a young adult or you're trying to get a job and you're posting something on X or sending an email or resume or something like that, you need to make sure that you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. because we don't want to have, you don't want to be the kid on Twitter who says, I'm blessed to do this, this, and this, and you don't capitalize anything, don't use punctuation. Be formal, be professional, and it goes a long way for a good program or a good job who are looking for those sorts of things in the process. So just be aware and try to, I always say, if you're going to do something, might as well try to do it all right rather than just get it done quick, which I used to not do. But now I try to do it a lot better, clean. This isn't going to be a long podcast, but I'm going to make sure I try to do it really well and hit the things that I want to hit on. So you should do the same thing in everything you do. Even if it takes time and effort, we got to do it well. Quality over quantity is always the way to go for the most part. Other things that I learned this week is I said that our team a couple weeks ago has inflated or false confidence. And I think recognizing that has allowed us to be more aware of and put people in better positions to be successful. And I think that we just have to live with what the reality is. And then how can we find ways to mask those and then use our strengths to the best of our ability? In a team, there's a lot of different dynamics. So you can think of your team, you individually, what are people's talents or what do they say their talent is? What do they want to be, and help them grow what they want to be, but then use them mostly 80-90% in the role that they're good at for now. And then in the off season or whatever your break might be, give them an opportunity to grow and to expand that role. Two other things that I want to hit on quick that I think are important. Number one is media. So Trump was getting, I'm not a political person, but there's a lot of media out there, and this is why we should maybe not focus on it so much and just work on getting better. Because the media says that Trump said that somebody should have I talk about school shootings, and Trump's like, well, the Second Amendment, I'm very supportive of. I think we should have it. It's in the Constitution for a reason. And then he talks about how people will use it for sport and leisure and stuff like that. And people took it as, now he didn't say it very good. People took it as he's saying that the people who died in a school shooting is fine because the person's using it for sport and leisure. And that's not what he's saying now. He needed to clarify it. And we know that sometimes he just goes off on a tangent. But I don't think he thinks that people should use guns as a sport and leisure for other humans. I don't think he's saying that. So I think that the media portrays the headline as that's what he said, but it's not what he said. And that's the case in a lot of things on the media. So one, we need to in school teach what's right, what's wrong in media, how to I don't want to say judge it, but how to know what is true and what's not true, what's false and what's good information, what's not, what's realistic and what's informative versus what is trying to sway you and be persuasive. So finding good sources, I think, is important. The other thing we need to think about is what is the gain of that and what's somebody trying to get the gain. If we all would just think what Jesus would do in that situation, we wouldn't have to have that discussion in the first place. So I encourage people during this election season to think about those things. And there's positives and negatives about every candidate in every position, not just the presidency. And how can we all reflect and be a little bit better and share those words instead of sharing the hateful words that tend to come across at this time of year. And the last thing I will leave you with, going off loosely of that, is UNC North Carolina wide receiver died a couple weeks ago, who's been dealing with, I believe it was brain cancer, brain or bone, one of the two. And he got diagnosed a couple years ago and was only supposed to live 5 days basically after he got diagnosed. So week to week, and he made it 2 years of life. So imagine going to bed every night and literally not being sure if you're going to wake up the next day. Imagine living that life. And then now think of your life today. What would you change? What would you do differently? Who would you talk to instead? What would you consume yourself with? What would your day-to-day look like in a realistic sense, obviously? Just reflect on that. And I want you to compare those two, and then how can you at least find a happy medium? And then hopefully towards the other end of if you die the next day, how would that work? Literally, he went to bed every night not knowing what was going to happen. If you were in that situation, how would you change? What would be different and why? I want you to reflect on that, because some people, that is what it is. Then the American dream is getting harder and harder, but we can all create our own goals, aspirations, and try to live those dreams out to the best of our abilities. But do we really? What's stopping us? What's in our way? And then how can we make changes to be a little bit better and get 1% each day? Everybody's situation is different, whether it's job, school, relationships, money. I don't know. You tell me. But I encourage you to think about that as we get off here a little bit early. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time. Love you. Bye.